Rosie, it's lovely to chat to you for She Can today. Tell us a little about yourself and what you do.
Oh, well, it's lovely to see your lovely face, Steffi, and wonderful to be here. I am the co-founder of Troy London. My sister and I founded the business 6 years ago now, and we produce jackets, coats, and beautiful shirting and knitwear for your wardrobes, mostly for women, but we're now building up a menswear line as well.
Rosie, tell us a little how you got to where you are today. What's your journey?
The journey wasn't a very predictable one, in the sense that, having been brought up in the countryside, Lucia and I were really fortunate. We spent our childhoods in the beautiful British countryside. We then both went to university and went into the city to work. Both of us worked in the City of London, for my case, a headhunting firm, Lucia, a consultant, working very hard during the week in the city. And at the weekends, we went out to the countryside to do what we loved best, which was walking, spend time with friends outside in the country, and dogs and horses a little bit, and just had that sort of escape. And we realized in that time that moving between the city and the countryside, we had to almost change. You know, you couldn't wear the same clothes in both environments. It was hard to find jackets and coats that suited both sort of environments. So we ended up thinking, well, hang on, why don't we design something that could be really perfect for wearing in any of those places? And so we started moving between the years, thinking about, well, you know, let's look at the jackets to start with, perhaps waterproof coats. Is it very difficult to find a waterproof coat that actually looks elegant and chic as well? And we thought definitely, and we looked at some of the competitors on the market, and this little idea grew and we started creating something, mostly with sketches around a kitchen table at night. We would work evenings just starting to create things on the side of work. And we built this little idea up, and the brand started to take shape. And after about 1.5 years of development, we decided to go for it, launch the business, and start designing and creating pieces that we felt would be versatile to all walks of life, but perhaps have a particular British stamp to them, and a particular sort of rooting in that whole enjoyment of the fresh air and countryside, whether you're actually in England or anywhere around the world.
And we love your jackets, Rosie. They're so beautiful. And they're comfortable, they're beautiful, and they're utilitarian. They really are perfect for outside. Rosie, tell us a little bit what motivates you every day to do this.
So, I mean, I have to say, starting my own company was a scary journey, and one with Lucia that we, luckily, being sisters, we could hold hands and do it together. And while it is a little bit unnerving, it's also extremely exciting. And, you know, the highs of the good moments are that bit higher, because this is your baby, this is your business that you've built up from scratch. And for Lucia and I, it was a journey into the unknown, coming from business, separate business headhunting into the fashion industry. We weren't trained in fashion. We had to take a big plunge into this new industry. We had to learn it all from scratch. It was hugely exciting, quite challenging time, lots of long hours and late nights, but those still happen. But really, we feel very motivated by just the excitement of what we're building, and the fact that it now impacts many more people than just us around the kitchen table. You know, where we have a team. We also support many factories in the UK. We're all British made, so we work with lots of different craftsmen and factories around the country who are, you know, frankly, they're not run off their feet. You know, you can feel that a lot of their business has gone overseas. So we feel we're starting to have more of an impact on others, which has been a lovely thing. And the people that you quickly realize you want to surround yourself with people who give you a positive feeling, and that, you know, you'll always work hard and always be very sort of motivated and focused, but there are certain people that one can choose to work with that fill you with enthusiasm and energy, and others that perhaps start to sap that out of you. So I'm a big believer in surrounding yourself by positive thinkers, and to to keep building the business that way. And as a result, I find it extremely exciting and very motivating, running the business, building it out. Our challenge, we are quite ambitious. We want to keep doubling the business every year and keep expanding our reach overseas. And that's a big ask. So yeah, we're very, I suppose there's a long way of answering, but very excited about what's to come around the corner, and what we've kind of created as a small team and now becoming more of a medium-sized business.
It's super inspiring, Rosie. Thank you for sharing that. Tell us what your superpower is. What do you have that makes you successful?
Oh, superpower? I'm not sure. I think I'd love to have a superpower. I think tenacity and determination can be important, and perhaps not letting the small minutiae get you down. Sometimes it's very easy to get tied up in the small pieces, the important but sort of smaller parts of the business that have, can get bogged down in a little bit. And it's so, if I were to really hone a superpower, and I don't believe I've got it yet, it would be to have the ability to take a step back at least once a week and have a real bird's eye view across the whole business and think, is this going the way we need it to, and which pieces need my focus and attention, and how to really make sure you stay broad in your view across the whole company. I think that's a really hard thing to get right, because by nature you've got to get into the detail, of course, at times, but it's a really important thing, and I think that's the super skill, I'm superpower I'm working on.
I think the eagle view, I have that's also one of mine for sure. It's so hard to stay up there and look down and not get bogged down by all the little things.
Yeah.
Rose, what would your top tips be for other women?
For other women, well, I think, to be honest, normally I go into business feeling like I'm a business person rather than a businesswoman. I think that's not a bad approach. To feel you enter the room as an equal helps to define yourself as an equal within other people's eyes. But I would say, sometimes as a woman in business, to kind of almost use your femininity as a power rather than as something to be ashamed of is very important. Often understanding the emotional state of the person that you're dealing with. I feel women are often a lot better than that at that. And perhaps if you take the time to understand where someone's coming from at the start of a meeting before plowing straight in with your agenda, you probably will find your end result of that meeting is a lot more, a lot more collaborative and a lot more conciliatory than it might be if you just plunged in. And there are certain things, I think, where more sensitivity, more appreciation for others' situations can be extremely powerful. But also, I would just say not to be intimidated, and it's an easy thing to say, but to try to, I find particularly in the fashion business, there are quite a lot of strong-minded men who will come in and tell you how to run your business. And it's well-meaning, but it happens all the time. And you have to just sort of take it as with a pinch of salt, thank them for their view, take it on board, but not necessarily do what they're telling you to do, and to have that confidence to not be pushed a little bit around by men who are kind of used to women doing what they say. And that does happen more than I would like to admit, but you see it a lot.
Rosie, I love those tips. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's so important to have this humanness, really, and this compassion and empathy with who you're dealing with. And I think that is a female thing. And we're always trying to push it down. Rosie, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? What is your dream for the future?
So for myself as an individual, I think to be honest, Troy is so tied up into my daily life, my everything, that I think it's a kind of dual answer I'll give you for both. But really, I would love to see this. I'd love to see this company thrive. I have a young family that I care very, very deeply about, and I would like to see them thrive as the absolute priority. But of course, the business alongside, and to find that my horizons keep broadening. And I think often it's easy to feel, perhaps also when you start a young family, your horizons feel that it's very important to focus on these little people that you're bringing into the world, but sometimes you feel like your horizons shrink because you need to focus very closely on these tiny little people. But I feel that with most women, all women, like we're all capable of doing more if we choose to, and not everybody chooses to. And I'd like to see that my horizons keep expanding with my children, and therefore my children feel inspired to do the same with their lives. So for me, I feel really excited by the next 5 years, whether it's more international growth and more international travel and seeing more of the world and appreciating more cultures, doing more to give back a little bit as well, because it's undoubtable bringing up a small company and growing it to the stage we have in the first 6 years. You get a lot of input and support from people around you. And I've had some fantastic women stepping in and helping us grow the company. Also some amazing men who've been amazing supports to us and given us a huge amount of insight and experience and expertise to help us get to where we are today. So I would like to hope to do a little bit of that back as well.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Rosie. It's great to chat to you today.